Hi everyone, it's Margaret here with 60 and Me. Many of you know that recently I've been very interested in Stoic philosophy, and I've done a couple of videos on this, and to be honest with you, it's becoming quite a guiding light. So I take glasses off. A guiding light in my life. I actually was just watching a video, that's why I had my glasses on, because I've really been enjoying learning more about the Stoic philosophy, since it's all about embracing life as it is and not trying to control the world outside of you, but to control instead your own responses, and to be grateful and appreciative for this beautiful life that we have, and to just accept challenges in a positive way. I know that sounds a little bit abstract, but I wanted to share today with you what I consider to be 14 Stoic wisdoms for thriving in your 60s. And this is things you can do or you should do according to the Stoic philosophers, and some things that maybe you should try not to do. And that's not to put a negative on it, it's more just a guideline. So if you find this useful, but it's interesting, when I did this first video on Stoicism, a lot of women, and I mean a lot, emailed back and left comments saying that they also had been discovering this lifestyle philosophy and finding it very useful. So I'm glad that it's resonating with many of you. But the first thing that you can do, there's like 7 or so things you can do and 7 things to avoid. The first one is to cultivate self-control. Master your reactions and cultivate composure in all situations. Now, every day we face, little challenges, whether they're just a flat tire or it's, something more significant, an illness or diagnosis or something happening in your family or with your friends. Sometimes we have things happen in our day that are really, really disrupting and upsetting, but to master your reactions to them, cultivate self-control. See the lesson, the goodness, the opportunity, the reality of a situation. Second is, and we've talked about this 1,000 times in 60 and Me, which is practice gratitude. And that's to be grateful for everything that you have. You have won the lottery in being here on this planet. Just to be here is remarkable, and to have this opportunity to live your life is amazing. And to be grateful for it, I think, is where we start. Even if we don't have everything that we wanted, we're not as tall as we want to be, or as short as we want to be, or as beautiful, or whatever is happening in your aging process that is changing your your feeling about your image, your beauty. But practice gratitude. Appreciate what you have at the moment, right now. Third is to reflect daily, and this is to always be aware of your mortality. The fact that this is such a precious life that can end any moment. Today, tomorrow, it can just be, I know that's a heavy thought, but it's part of this Stoic philosophy to feel that, you've got to live every moment of your life with just absolute joy and commitment to make the best of it. So reflecting daily, just whether it's meditation or just sitting and having a prayer or whatever you do, just to be grateful every single day. Reflect on that. Focus on what you can control. That goes back to where we started, which is to say, there are certain things that happen in this world that you can be concerned about, you can have fears about, you can recognize as being like, intercepting your happiness and touching your life, but choose how you're going to respond. Focus your energy and efforts only on the things that you can influence. And maybe there are some things, like if you're concerned, for example, about climate change, or if you're interested about, your faith or whatever, there are things you can do, of course, that can bring that information to, to the world, and you can actually do something to participate in making a difference. But your response is all that you can control. So, accept the present is the next thing. Accept where you are. Trust your judgments. Trust that you are today a product of all the decisions and all the choices that you have made, that you are here right now, that your intuitions, your feelings are the most important thing that you've got to work with. Trust your judgments. Follow your intuitions and know that you can control that reality that you're creating. Another thing, here's some things to avoid doing. They're not like, do not do this. I'm not trying to preach to you or anybody, but the best sort of other counterpoint to the things to do, which controlling your own emotions, appreciating every day, is to not complain about things out of your control. It's so hard because you look at things and think, oh, why is it this way? Why did that person do that? Why is the system the way it is? And it's easy to fall into this mode of complaining, criticizing. But if you can avoid doing that, you can see the goodness in that. You're not going to see goodness in an illness or goodness in a death, or how can you see goodness in something that's hurtful? Well, you can't, not in the present. And this is, I was just watching another video on Stoicism this morning about this whole idea of accepting your fate. And I challenges with that. I was trying to understand what they meant by fate. But the thing is, when you're doing something like now, today, and it's painful, you cannot see how it will influence, how the long-term influence of that will be in your future. So look at yourself now. If you were divorced 20 years ago, like me, at the time, I was so heartbroken. And if I had just tried a little bit then to not complain about it, not to worry about it, and to say, this is okay, I can handle this, I've been through a lot worse, I can manage this, and I'm going to get through it. And then 20 years later, it's like, that was honestly the best thing that could have happened. For me, for my ex-husband, for everybody. There were some people along the way that, that probably were impacted by it more. And, they have their own journeys to figure this out. But for me, I think that's really important to not criticize everything, to see the goodness. So like, I got a flat tire. Well, at least I didn't get it on the highway. At least I noticed it now and I can deal with it. Just taking every situation. It's raining outside. Well, that's great for photography. I can take some really cool pictures in the rain. Just looking all at, it's not like look on the bright side and be kind of, Pollyanna-ish. It's all about just making an effort to turn it around and be positive, not to complain. Next thing to try not to do is hold grudges. There's so many people right now on different channels, TikTok, Instagram, all these different channels, talking about, how sad their life was, how hard their life was, how much they disliked their parents, or how much hurt was caused by certain situations. And there's, of course, that's the reality for some people to work things through. But the Stoic would say, try to find a way to not hold a grudge. Because grudges are like taking the poison. I think the Buddha said this, like it's like taking a poison yourself and expecting the other person to die. It's like you just hurt yourself by holding grudges. So trying to lift yourself up. Another thing that's really important in Stoicism, I think is just so perfect for life in general, is don't look for outside validation. If you have an idea, if you have a thought, if you have a desire, if you have a passion or something that you enjoy doing, don't look to outside validation for people to say to you, yeah, go ahead and do that. Now, that's good for you. I think you should do that. Or no, I don't think you should do that. Don't look for their validation. You've got it. You've got this. You know exactly what you need. So find validation from your own achievements, from your own successes, from your own things, that, the milestones that you can celebrate. Don't look for other people. Don't look to their validation. You can certainly let them give you feedback. You can certainly ask for advice. You go to a therapist. You can do all kinds of things. But when you get to the point that you know what you need to do, don't look to them for validation. I've decided to do this. Don't say, what do you think? Should I do that? No, don't do that. Just don't ask. This is my opinion. Do not shun help. This is a really good one. I think I'm looking at a couple of things I missed on the do's, but do not fear change. This is one of the things definitely you should be considering as a do not. Change is everywhere. It's where we live. It's what we do. It's our world. Change is our passion. Avoiding change is negative. It's not going to work. So that's another thing to try to avoid. Avoiding change, pushing back on change. Another thing to not to do, is to not sweat the small stuff. Oh my goodness me. When I think about all the things that I've done in my life, that I have just been so obsessed with the detail, with the little things, with the little points of it, I'm telling you, it's just not that big a deal. There's a couple of things that are super, super impactful that can happen in your life that you need to pay attention to. That's not the small stuff, but don't sweat the small stuff. Don't worry about it. Don't worry if you don't have the right clothes or the right house or the right car or the right, whatever. If you can't, you have to go to the library to get your books instead of, just don't look at the small things and think that they're the end of the world, that they're the be all end all towards your happiness. I hope that's been helpful. I think to me some of the don't do's are much more helpful for me, because we tend to do that. We tend to criticize. We tend to hold grudges. We tend to be grumpy. We tend to look to other people for advice. But that's at the heart of Stoicism, I think, is to do the opposite of that. If you've got any thoughts on this, I know that a lot of you actually do have an interest in Stoicism. It's the philosophy of the Roman emperors, 300, 400 BC. It's really way back there. But they have, what's his name? I've completely forgotten the person's name. I'll put it into the description box. The gentleman who has written just about every book possible, and very approachable. Very easy to read, very understandable, very up to date and modern in his interpretation. But I wish I could remember his name. But anywho, but it's really, really worth studying, in my opinion. What do you think? Are you a Stoic? And do you understand it now a bit better? I'd love to have your thoughts on this, and leave them in the comments section below. Come join our Patreon group. We talk about this kind of stuff on Patreon, on our smaller group where we can chat, and there's a private Facebook group there that you can enjoy too. But it's patreon.com, Patreon, Patreon, and come join us. We're a smaller group, can talk more. We meet, get together in person. It's all good fun. But let me know what you think about these Stoicism ideas. I really appreciate you listening and being here. Thank you for the first time people. Keep coming. We get more interesting every day. We're out on the edges, but I do appreciate you and love you, and wish you well. Take really good care, everybody. Okay, bye for now.